In this demonstration, we'll look at the client settings you can use to automatically configure TCP IP values. For this demo, our computer is connected to the internet. We can right-click the network icon and click Network and Sharing Center. We see the computer is connected to the network and the internet. When we click Ethernet, Properties, Internet Protocol version 4, Properties, we see a statically configured IP address, default gateway address, and DNS server address. We have a DHCP server on our network. We want to use DHCP to assign the IP addresses instead of manually configuring them. To do this, we click the Obtain an IP address automatically option. Notice that even though we're requesting an IP address from the DHCP server, we can still manually set the DNS server addresses. In this case, we want both the IP address and the DNS server address to come from the DHCP server. Let's close this dialog and go to a command line interface. We're going to do an ipconfig/release just to release any address we may have picked up. Then we'll do an ipconfig/renew to obtain a new IP address from our DHCP server. We can see that we now have an IP address from our DHCP server. Let's close the command line interface. Now let's go back to our Network and Sharing Center. Right-click the network icon and click Network and Sharing Center. When we click Ethernet and then Details, we see that we now have an IP address of 192.168.0.101. We also have a subnet mask and a default gateway listed, as well as a DHCP server IP address. This is the IP address of the server we used to get the configuration information. We also have our DNS server address. And that's all for this demo. We used the different options for configuring a client's TCP IP properties. We looked at how we can use a static IP address and how we can obtain a dynamically assigned IP address from a DHCP server.